Good morning, everyone. Hello, happy Thursday. How are you doing today? I'm excited to be joining you again. So I know Thursday's not my typical day to be live on Facebook, but I am taking the Thursday in the middle of the month, and Susan and Heather are taking the other 4 since they're lucky 5 Thursdays in September. So yeah, I can't even believe it's September either. So as you are hopping on today, tell me hello, say hi. We are continuing our birthday celebration here at TE. The past couple of days have been super fun. Lots of people stopping in the studio, so I got to reminisce with some of our longtime customers about tailored expressions and the journey that we've been on and that you have joined along with us. So that's been fun, and we just have so much going on around here. So I'm excited to kind of fill you guys in on everything that's been happening and all the things we have going on for our 14th birthday celebration. So if you didn't tune in on Tuesday, then I will recap for you here in just a little bit. If you tuned in Tuesday, then you'll get a little bit of a recap too, just to make sure you don't miss anything. So let's say hello to a few people. Hi, Amy in Illinois. Debbie's here today. Hi, Deneen, Carol, Belinda in Houston. Awesome. Good morning, Melissa. A lovely, cool morning in Central California. That's nice. Getting ready for fall. I am loving the cool mornings, and then by the end of the day, it's gotten up to, I don't know, between 80, 85 degrees this week. So that's like perfect. If it could just stay like that, you won't hear any complaints from me. I love a little light jacket in the morning and then warming up throughout the day. I should just move back to California probably. I'm sure Jamie would take me with open arms, but yeah, I do love California weather. It's sort of that perfect cool morning, warm afternoon all year round with the occasional rain, but nothing too crazy. So, oh, thanks, Jennifer. I did do my hair a little bit different today. She said it looks nice. Hello, Karen in Kansas. Oh, Karen Kenny, your cat is 14 today. So yes, lots of great things happened 14 years ago. The birth of tailored expressions. Someone actually came in the studio and asked a question that I had to look up the answer to. They wanted to know what was the actual date, like the specific date that Tailored Expressions launched. And that story's a little bit complicated, but to give you the short version, so I started Tailored Expressions as a place actually that I intended to sell custom wedding invitations and favor boxes and sort of craft that whole handmade wedding experience for brides. Funny enough, it's kind of funny to think back on that, but I had been making cards for a long time. I invested in a machine that allowed me to cut cool different wedding invitation styles, and I worked on the font and put together these kind of ensembles for brides to come and purchase on the Tailored Expressions website. And then as a crafter, I sold other products like ribbon to match a lot of our favorite Stampin' Up! Colors is kind of where I started. So that all started prior to what we know as Tailored Expressions today. But as that sort of started to take off, I decided I had a little itch to do some stamps. And so I contacted our very first illustrator who drew Cuppy, if anybody remembers Cuppy. And we launched our first 3 stamp sets. Jessie Olson is her name. She no longer illustrates for Tailored Expressions, but she does many other cool things on her own. She runs a fun blog called Cake Spy. She writes cookbooks. And so yes, Jessie was our first illustrator, and we launched the first 3 Cuppy stamp sets on September 5th, 2008. And I suppose you could say the rest is history because things have just evolved and grown and changed from there. I quickly left behind the wedding ensemble idea, but I do love still to do that kind of crafting for friends and such. So, oh, you guys love Cuppy. Awesome. Hello. First stamp release, 9/5. Jamie remembers it. Yes, September 5th, 2008. in a lot of ways seems like just yesterday. All of my California friends came to our garage in Pasadena, and we packed orders, and I paid them with I think chicken and waffles. We went to Roscoe's afterwards. So it was a super fun start to Tailored Expressions, and fun to think back on that and where our journey has taken us today, and how many amazing friends and customers we've gained along the way. So it's been a fun week, and I'm excited to keep it going. So today, I want to announce a couple of things. So like I said, I'm going to give you a recap of what we are doing this week, along with a few graphics, because I know that's helpful. So we are in our double crafty points period right now. Today is the last day to place your orders and earn double crafty points. Make sure you are signed into your TE account. Anyone who has an account at Tailored Expressions and signs into that account and places their orders automatically earns these points. You don't have to do anything other than have a TE account and sign in when you place your order. And then those points, they accrue so that you can use them on future orders for discounts. And then you move yourself through our loyalty tiers from Insider to Superfan to Rainbow Royalty. I know we have some of those ladies out there too. And it looks like Carol said she achieved Rainbow Royalty status. Woohoo! Exciting. So those different tiers get you additional perks throughout the year. And the great thing about those different tiers is if you meet that, it's all based on your yearly spending at Tailored Expressions. And so if you meet those tiers or reach those tiers within this calendar year, you earn the benefits of that tier for the next full year. So as long as you get there by the end of December, then you will be in that same status tier for the next year, 2023. So great time to get your orders in today to get those double crafty points. And then with every order that is placed during our birthday celebration, you are going to get this little freebie stamp set. So it's a small stamp. It's a 2x3 clear stamp. So 2 inches by 3 inches is the size of the carrier sheet. And so these images are fairly small. It's called Itty Bitty Birthday. And when you create a project using this stamp, you can post it on our Fans of Tailored Expressions using the hashtag TEBirthdayBash. And that's going to get you entered into a drawing for one of 14 $25 store credits that we're going to be giving away. You can enter as many cards as you'd like. Just make sure you hashtag them with TEBirthdayBash. And we have extended that deadline. So we heard from some customers who were concerned, even with our super fast shipping status, that you might not have a chance to receive and use that for the contest. So the new deadline, I know it's not reflected on this graphic, but the new deadline for your projects is September 30th. So you have one extra week to get those orders or get those cards made and posted once you get your order. So that's our special maker challenge. We love to see what you make, and we love to get all of our customers involved on our fan page. So take that up when you get your orders. I can't wait to see what you make. And then let's talk about, we had some giveaways. So on the live on Tuesday, we had a fun little chat happening where I asked lots of questions and then told you guys that we would be offering some prizes. We chose randomly from among the comments of both our replay watchers and those that were able to tune in live. So I have some winners to announce for you guys. I'm going to get it up on the screen here. Winners, we have Lisa Adkins, Linda Lorich, and Kim Tank. I'm just going to go with the normal, hopefully that's right, maybe not. But you guys are the lucky winners of our $50 store credits from the live on Tuesday. And we have verified that you already have accounts at Tailored Expressions. So we will just go ahead and add that amount to your store credit. When you check out, you will be able to apply that to whatever order you desire to use it on. So congratulations to those ladies, and thank you everyone for tuning in on Tuesday for your participation. I love seeing all the comments. I had fun reading more about you and how long you've been stamping and what countries you've been to and all the different fun questions that we talked about on Tuesday. So I did have a little bit of a hint that we were going to do a giveaway today as well, which brings me to my next little announcement of what we have going on this week. So let me get the graphic up here. We have our new Get Thready bundle. So this is actually a discounted bundle. If you were to buy all of these items without the bundle, this would cost you somewhere around $57. So we have discounted the bundle and we've offered a free live class when you purchase the bundle. So it includes our new products for stitching on your cards, and I really don't want anybody to miss this class. And so I am going to give away one of the Get Thready bundles today, and then that will get you access to the free live class as well. So how do you win this bundle? Well, here's what I need you to do. I want to know, have you stitched on your cards before? So leave me a comment that says something like, yes, I love stitching on my cards. No, I've never tried it. If you want to get more elaborate, I would love to hear what has held you back if you haven't tried stitching on your cards. What's maybe an issue you've encountered or something that your brain says, nope, not interested. I would love to know that, especially as I am thinking about this class and how I am going to share this new, I know it's not a new technique, but I'm going to share it with our audience for the first time. I want to make sure that I'm giving you all the best tips and tricks to make this really simple, because that's what I wanted when I designed this product, was a simple way to include stitching on your cards. It's not hard, it's fun, it gives texture, it's sort of relaxing, one of those things you can do in the car. I actually stitched several of my samples on the way to our family vacation in Okoboji in August, and so I just found it really relaxing and fun to combine colors and different types of stitches. And so yes, I don't want anybody to miss this class. Now, if you have already purchased the bundle and you happen to be chosen as a winner today, we will refund that price. And if you haven't purchased the bundle yet, then you can purchase it today for sure. But I will be announcing the winner tomorrow as well. So if you buy the bundle and join us for the class, you could potentially get refunded, or we'll ship you the bundle if you have not yet purchased it yet. So that is the giveaway for today. I see your comments coming in. Some that have stitched on cards, some that haven't done it for many years. I do feel like this is an art form that is coming back in a new way, and so I need to dig those out now that somebody said that. It kind of made me think that my great-grandma, who I am named after, her name is Jean Taylor, and my name is Taylor Jean. So she actually did embroidery on cards, and my mom, with all of my crafty endeavors, decided to give that to me as sort of memorabilia to keep. She gave it to me for Christmas last year, and I have it all in a little box. Great Grandma Taylor's embroidery on cards. So I'm gonna go home and get that out. Maybe that's something I can share during my live class with you guys. I also have something from one of our staff members here. Jill is her name, not Jill, the design team member, but Jill is our operations manager, and she or director of operations, and she does stitching as well. And she made me this beautiful tag last year for Christmas, all hand stitched without a pattern. So I'm going to bring that to show you guys in the live class too, because there are so many different ways you can do stitching. These cutting plates just make it really simplified to do it, instead of having to design your own pattern and do all of the stitches by actually piercing the paper. The die does that for you. So anyway, enough about that. I'm excited. You guys are leaving comments. Even if you're watching this later as a replay, feel free to leave that comment, and we will get you entered into the drawing, which I will announce on our Facebook page and in the comments of this video tomorrow. I will tag the winners, so check your notifications to see if you're the lucky winner. All right, I hope to see lots of you in the class. We've sold lots of bundles so far. It's going to be a fun one. Okay, so let's get started with the actual crafty session for today. I will be done with all of my announcements now, and we are going to have some fun together. I wanted to show you guys another one of our super popular products that has been everybody's favorite for this release, which I sort of predicted that, but I want to show you how you can combine the Triple Slim Celebrate stencils. Here they are in the packaging. You stencil these 4 layers to create these 3 mini slim patterns, and then we have the coordinating dies that can be added so it can cut out all of the candles in that row of stenciled candles, and then we have the Triple Slim Celebrate balloons that you can cut out and add dimension to the balloons over the top of that panel. So the other product that coordinates with these is the Triple Slim Celebrate. Triple Slim Celebrate Foilet, sorry. And it is a pack of pre-printed toner cards that you can foil and then use your stencils over the top. So one of the biggest questions I get when it comes to foiling is, do you foil before or after you do your stenciling? And I foil before, because a lot of times if you're applying ink over your panel and then trying to put the foil over the top, you have already added ink over the top of that toner, and it can affect the adhesion of the toner to your or the foil to your toner panel. So let me pull them out here, and we're going to show you the 3 different options. So this one is for the candle lineup, and you have those flames. Then we have the birthday here, or the birthday balloons, and then this one with the confetti. The other thing that I love about our Foil-It panels is a lot of them have the sentiment built into them. So that is finished for you as well. You don't have to do the foiling and then wonder, oh, what sentiment should I put here? It just takes another step out of the process. So you'll notice that these are 3 individual cards, and I'm going to give you tips and tricks today for then aligning that foiled panel behind the proper area of the stencil, and then we're going to blend them. So first I need to turn on my Mink. I've got my little mini Mink here, and we'll get that turned on and we can let that heat up. I'm going to do 1 of each of the panels because obviously that's what fits behind the stencils. Now let's take a look at the stencils while this is heating up. So we have, like I mentioned, 4 layers. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and 4. So making sure they're all facing the same direction with that etched item number in the bottom right corner. And then I will tell you, if you are using the Foil-It panels, you're going to eliminate the blending on layer number 4. So this one we're just going to set aside because all of the details in layer number 4 are actually part of the printed toner panel. So if you see, I put this underneath here, and that's going to line up exactly with what is already printed. So that's going to be foiled. You don't need to blend over the top of it again. So this layer is going to be set aside and not used. And the thing I love about the Mink is it's going to heat up super fast for us, so we don't have to wait too long. But I will talk about my carrier sheet next. So this is the 6x6 carrier sheet that comes with the Mink. I added a piece of cardstock in there as a shim, and that's kind of personal preference. You can play with your machine or your laminator depending on what you have. I just like it for sturdiness in there. I do make sure that my foil panel is always facing up, because that means the most amount of heat is going to transfer through the top layer. Now if you're putting it down like this, obviously there's not as much heat conducting through that cardstock, and you might not get as good of a transfer of the foil. So I'm also going to be, oh, there it goes, it's green. I'm going to be using the Silver Stars foil today. I love it. It has all those tiny little stars built into the foil. Silver and shimmery and perfect for birthdays. Also great for graduations, I found this year. Okay, so we'll put that foil over the top with the shiny side facing up. And I'm going to send it through. I want to make sure all of that foil is on my cardstock because it can transfer to your carrier sheet. So I'm going to cut it just slightly from the top here so I don't get any of that transfer onto my carrier. Ask me how I know. I've done that before. Okay, so we'll send this first panel through. It does take a couple seconds to get it through. I've never actually counted, but I'd say probably 15 seconds or so. So when I stick the next one through, maybe I can show you guys a sneak peek of one of the cards we're going to be making in the Get Thready live class. I didn't actually show you what's included in that bundle today, and I can kind of pass that through the screen too while we're waiting for these to foil. Looks like some of you have said you haven't foiled in the past just because it's maybe too time consuming. And that has been my experience as well, and something that I looked to solve with this product because it's very simple. So there's not a ton of stitching that has to happen, and it's easy and quick. All right, so there we go. Beautifully foiled with the silver stars. I love it on those really solid spaces because you get to see more of the stars. The sentiment, you don't see as many of the stars, but it is super shimmery and sparkly when you get it in the light. So let's go ahead with the second guy here. And again, I'm going to cut off just a touch from the top so that I don't have that overlap on onto my carrier sheet. We'll put this through, and then I'm going to show you guys the bundle since I didn't get that all out to share. So included in that $49 bundle is the Get Thready Sunburst cutting plate. It has that open space at the bottom for a sentiment, and we included the two dies then that are designed to go down there for the birthday release. It's the Bold Birthday and then the backer die. You have 4 colors of thread, 3 that look very girly together. Replace the blue with the pink or the pink with the blue, and you have boyish colors. So 4 colors of thread gets you lots of different options and versatility for boys and girls. And then you get those 4 bobbins to wind your thread and a tapestry needle for actually achieving the stitching. All right, here's this one. This one is the flames. Super fun. Would be fun to kind of piece this together. Maybe you want gold flames. You could do gold shattered flames and then a different color for your sentiment. I do love piecing foil scraps back together sometimes to get different looks with the foil. And last one here, we have the confetti. Then we can turn the ink off and let it rest for a bit. Okay. Now we'll place this one through, our last one, and we can get ready then to adhere these panels to our stencils or to line them up with the stencils. So, oh, there's just a little fleck of foil that was on there. Okay, so it can be a little tricky to get these aligned, but I have some tips that hopefully will help you because you want to save time with these stencils. You don't want to have to do every single layer aligning every single panel. So I'm going to show you a tip for how to align once and then use those alignment squares to your advantage. The alignment squares that are on the stencil can be used then to line up those subsequent layers easily. And there's our last one. So pretty. So if you guys have seen the Triple Slim or the samples the design team has created, do you have a favorite design? Balloons, candles, or confetti? Do you have a favorite of the 3? I know it's hard to choose. I'm not sure I do. I do love the confetti. It has that smattering of the foiled look throughout it, which I think is really fun. Okay, I can't pick favorites though. So this is the layer number 1. We're going to start there, and I'm going to grab a couple of pieces of tape before I get started with my alignment. I'm just ripping them off and placing them kind of on the edge of my work surface so I can quickly grab them once I have the stencil in place. I don't have to rip tape as well. Okay, so we are going to start with this bottom layer, which is the flames. So I have the flames for the candles, and what I'm going to pay attention to, hopefully if I hold it up here in the correct light, you guys can see that there are these etched lines around the edges of the stencil. Now that's what you need to line up these paper pieces with. So I'm going to line that stencil, that etched guide, with my paper. I feel like I can't talk and do this at the same time. Okay, so I have that lined up, and I'm going to use those flames then as a guide to kind of look and see, are they in the right place as my candle layers are, just as an extra little double check to make sure. And you can always shift it just slightly left or right if you need to. What's most important is that those flames are lining up right above the candles. So once you have that in place, I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to adhere my tape so it's overlapping the paper and the stencil area. If you wanted to, you could put another one on this side. Just make sure you don't block any of your alignment squares, because we're going to need to use those to line up the rest of the layers. So now this middle layer is next. We're going to put that down. This one is just using kind of the edge of this piece of cardstock. It can butt up against that exactly, and then you're going to center that right between those lines, top to bottom. So this is probably the easiest panel, and it's probably the most forgiving panel as well, because those balloons are overlapping each other. They don't all have their own exact space to be. So then we're going to turn this one over, and we'll add that adhesive here, the top and the bottom. I'm going to need one more piece of this purple tape here. If you have pixie tape, that will work. If you have, what was I going to say? Not painter's tape, pixie tape. Oh, Post-it labeling tape, that works great as well. Okay, so on this last version, you're gonna again line up that edge with the previous panel and make sure these other 3 edges are also lined up. Almost there. Okay, so the good news is you only have to do this step 1 time. Hooray. As long as you follow the rest of my tips, you only have to do this 1 time. I need a little bit smaller one up here. I don't want to overlap that stencil opening. We'll put this guy right here and this one up here. Cam's asking about the simple storage for simple strips when those are coming in. We have a huge restock of lots of storage items, so not just that simple storage, scheduled for next week. So you don't have to wait much longer. That is going to be happening next Tuesday, along with some other fun things which I will sneak peek at the end of this release. At least verbally sneak peek, because I don't think I have any actual sneak peeks to share with you. I don't have a lot of tea to spill today for next week. Okay, so there are those 3 panels all perfectly lined up. Now this is the step that you want to make sure you follow so you don't have to do this on every layer. I'm going to take some tape, a pretty generous amount of tape, and I'm going to put a few strips on each panel. Okay, and when I say generous amount, you don't have to totally cover it, but you want enough that it's going to stick down to your placemat and not come up when you lift your stencil. So we're going to go ahead with taping this down then, just pressing it into place. If you want to, you can still add some additional just stability for your stencil so it's not moving around on your desktop while you do your blending. I'm going to put a couple pieces on top. And now we get to start our blending. Let's start with, I'm going to start with Fruit Punch today, which is kind of a pretty red. Oh, Carol, I will have to disappoint on the storage items for the quad. Not yet. Quite honestly, I'll just be really upfront with you guys because why not? We are working on pricing for those and really trying to negotiate the best price because I want to put out the most high quality product at a great price. And so that's kind of where we're at in that process. And so it's all designed, it's cool, it's ready to go, and just working my best magic for that. But when I said we were doing new products, it was in restock products. So it will be next week. So nothing new that you haven't seen before as far as storage items. We do have some other new things happening next week, which are fun, but then just the storage restocks. Deneen likes the balloons or the candles. You know what? I love the candles because of the dye that comes with it. I think I might have squealed the day that dye came in and we tested it out and cut out all those little candles, and then you get to decide exactly what you want to do with them. If you tuned in on Tuesday, you saw how I added those candles to the cupcake, the new cupcake in the Let Them Eat Cake set, which turned out super cute. That was sort of a happy accident. They weren't even really designed to size and work together, but I love it when they do. Okay, so we have that first layer of fruit punch. Now it's up to you when you do this step. We could have done it before we inked the stencil, but it's very important to do this next step before you remove your stencil. So the next step then is to take a pen or a pencil and we're going to mark those alignment squares. I trace around the box and then I color in the box, which I find is an easy way to see a solid square and be able to line it up, especially when there are already squares on this grid paper placemat. A solid square is a good call out for a little contrast from what you already have printed. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this up. I'm taking away that layer of the stencil and I'm going to do it slowly because I want to make sure that the adhesive I put on the back is going to stay in place, is going to allow my cardstock pieces to stay in place because that's what I really want. I just want to remove the stencil and keep all the cardstock right where it's at. Then we can take layer number 2 of the stencil, and we've got candles on this end, and I'm going to line up the alignment squares that we just traced. Remember, I have to do this in silence, so forgive me. Okay, that is looking good. Now the most important one again to pay attention to is the candle layer over here. You don't want crooked candles. These other layers are more forgiving because they're not specifically aligning. They're just kind of an all over pattern. So we can put that back into place then. And we'll do our next blend with the pineapple. Pineapple ink. Oh, Carol, you're making your granddaughter's 2-year-old birthday card. Are you going to put 2 candles in the cupcake? That's cute. I hope your stuff arrives. The ladies have been super busy shipping this week, so I went over and pulled a couple orders yesterday while my lunch was heating up. If you haven't seen me blending before, I do try to mention this every time I blend because I don't think it's just one of those tips that it never hurts to hear it again. But I will continuously blend in both directions on my stencil. So I am going clockwise and counterclockwise. And that's because there is a ridge or a lip on each edge of your stencil. And if you're constantly going in the same direction, then your ink is going to pool on one edge, leaving the other edge a little bit lighter. One edge is going to turn darker. So sometimes that might be nice to try if you really want to get that dimension only on one edge. But usually I try to make it a habit to just go round and round in both directions. With the yellow ink, I don't typically brush off onto my placemat first, just because it's a lighter color. You're not going to get that huge, intense blob right out of the ink pad. Okay. One other thing I'm going to do with this particular layer, we're going to get a little extra dimension by adding some candy corn with our bitty blender brushes. Candy corn is our traditional orange color. This cardstock just came back into stock after being out of stock for quite a while. So we are super happy before Halloween is here to have our candy corn back in stock. All right, so I am brushing off on my placemat and I'm coming in and giving a little bit of dimension towards the bottom of those balloons. That's what bitty blender brushes are great for. Just adding those little bits of additional dimension to your project really steps it up and makes it look more 3D, because obviously it's stenciled, so it's all one layer. You could also do some on the base of the candles. You could fill in a few confetti pieces if you wanted to add another color without actually having another stencil layer. So lots of options for those bitty blenders and adding them into different spaces. So we're going to take that stencil layer now that that's finished. Again, I want to make sure that my cardstock is staying in place on my placemat as I peel this layer away. And then we're going to bring in what is the third layer, and in this case it's going to be the final layer that we are going to blender brush today, because we are going to skip that fourth layer since we foiled those designs. All right, so I'm going to line those squares up. Pay attention to my candles, make sure they're aligning with the flames. And then press that into place. And the final color I'm going to do today is the Cookie Monster. Here it is. Oh yes, Kelly, thank you. Here's my ink stand. It's right here at my fingertips. Sometimes, you know, I get in a groove and I'm just ready to move on to the next thing and I forget. Let's see, we've got some questions going by. Does the candle die work with the previous stencil with the layered candles? It does not. No, these are smaller candles than that. Julianne asked, is there a reason to use or not use pixie spray? I would say, I think Jamie maybe answered this question for you as I saw it pass by. But I would say when you're using foil, the stickiness, the adhesive of the pixie spray can pull up your foil. So typically anytime I'm using foil or plan to use foil, I try to avoid pixie spray. The other thing with this particular stencil is you'll notice there's not a ton of openings. So it's not a very intricate stencil. There's, an opening here and an opening here. So tape should be plenty to hold this down in place, and you don't have to move with the pixie spray. I really try to reserve my pixie spray for those intricate stencils that maybe have a swirl or a part that tends to get caught with my blender brush or maybe pop up off of the page. So if I didn't say this, I am using Cookie Monster ink for this particular last layer of the stencil, and then we're going to do again a little bit of adding dimension with blue raspberry. I chose this color combination because I thought it would be fun for both boy and girl. There's really no particular, I mean, not that colors have to have genders, but typically we do think of pinks and purples as more girly colors. But this one has just the reds, blues, yellows. Without being totally primary, I didn't go with, you know, the school colors of red, blue, and yellow. They're a little bit more teal and not super red, more of a pinky red, but not pink. Okay. Do you feel like you have to wipe the ink off the foil after stenciling? I do not do that, actually. You're, I think, talking about these areas here that are maybe a little bit of exposed foil. I have not found that they hold ink on them, actually. Let's see here if I feel like... Nope. I think you'd be good without wiping them off. So, oh, I forgot my dimensional layer. There we go. We can just go ahead and place that back down. I'm going to get out my blue raspberry ink and my blender brush, my bitty blender, and we're going to add some more kind of dark dimension to the base of the balloons. Tropical Punch is another great option for this. That's a newer color for us. And with these darker colors, you will almost always see me brush off on my placemat before I come to my paper. And even then, when I come to my stencil, I start off on the stencil material and then I drag onto the balloon. So I'm not taking that brush and putting it right onto my open paper. Okay, time for the big reveal. This is the best part. So now it's not as important that we keep that all on our placemat, but it has shown to be very sturdy to stick down on that placemat layer. But now we can remove it, and I should have turned it around the other way because all my sentiments are upside down. So here's our first one. You are an amazing reason to celebrate. Kind of a different way to say happy birthday. Sometimes you want something more unique than just happy birthday to you. Okay, there's that one. So fun. Let's do this one next. Oh, yay, I'm getting some squeals. You guys love this step too. It's the best part. Peeling away that last layer. Okay. So sometimes you learn as you go, and I'm going to give you guys a tip because I notice here I had a little overlap in this top left corner from where the paper from the confetti stencil was butting up with this particular layer. So just a heads up, that is such a little amount. I will probably just cut that off with a paper trimmer and not even worry about that little excess there. But just a heads up that as you're aligning these, make sure that nothing from the stencil layer next to it is showing through on your paper that you don't want to be. All right, last layer. If you tuned in late today and you missed the giveaway announcement at the beginning, I am giving away one of our Get Thready bundles, which will get you into the Facebook Live class. And in order to be entered into that, you just need to leave a comment and tell me if you've stitched on your cards before, if you haven't, maybe what's a challenge that you have encountered in stitching. I'm super excited to share this, and of course, you know, at TE we love to expand collections, so we've got more unique and simplified threading ideas coming for you guys. So now is the time to learn so you can be ready for what's to come in the future. Okay, so here are those 3 panels. You could call it good just like this. I don't know if Whitney is still watching, but if you are, can you bring me a paper trimmer? I got to get that little bit off of the side there before I adhere these down. So again, you could stop here. It looks beautiful just the way it is. No need to add. You don't have to add sentiments. You have something that looks really very professional with the foil in there. It looks like a card you could have bought at Hallmark, but we don't do that, right? Okay, thank you. She brought me my paper trimmer, so we're gonna just snip that little side off here. And then it's what I love about this paper trimmer. I've said it a zillion times that I can see exactly where my blade is going to cut, so I can make sure that I'm only getting rid of that very tiny portion that has the overlap. Okay, now I've got 3 card bases created for these panels. The card bases, or I only have 2.
Oh yeah, I only have 2.
Okay.
I get you one more.
She's gonna get me one more. So if you are creating your own mini slim card bases, they do measure 6 by 7 inches, and then along the 7-inch side, you would score at 3.5. So the final size of the folded mini slim card base is 3.5 by 6. And these pieces that were pre-cut for you are just 1/4 inch smaller than that. So 3.25 by 5 3/4. So that's the nice thing about these two, is they're already sized perfectly to fit on that mini slim card base. I'm going to use one of my favorite adhesives that we've brought in more recently, and that is our 1x3 foam strips. These are large foam strips, but they fit so perfectly on both A2 and mini slim layers, making it really stable, I guess, giving it some stability by adding that foam tape all the way across your project. You don't have sagging in the middle. So I know a lot of times we put foam tape around the outsides, and then we mail our cards and they show up with like a divot in the middle, like they're dented. So I've been using this a lot lately. It's easy to apply. It's easy to take the backing paper off of. Just peel it away, and 5 strips down the mini slim, and we call it good. Teresa, if you're asking about the card bases, are Cookie Monster, yes, and I did also use ink that was Cookie Monster when we did the stencil blending. Now, which one did I leave the candles? I did. I showed this on my cupcake video the other day, and I thought it would go really well with this too. I feel like I just want to add a little something up in that white space, so I brought out my All Tucked In Patriotic clear stamp set again, and it has these tiny little asterisks, I guess I would say. They're almost like little fireworks, and I'm going to add a few of those up in the white space area above the candle pattern, just to give it something. Where do I want this one? Maybe up here. All right, now I'm going to grab the little one. So there's 2 different sized versions here. We'll do pineapple next. And fruit punch. Where did you go? I broke Susan's rule. I had more than one ink pad open at a time. All right, I'll hold that up in the screen so you can see that that added just a little something extra. We'll go ahead and put our foam strips on the back of that. And then I'm going to show you one more thing before I let you go for today. Studio's open again today. So if you're local here, come on in and see us. Second day of our birthday bash. Okay. All right. There's one. This is we need our fold at the top of that mini slim. Turn that over here. Okay, we got one done. Cute, cute. The backing papers off of these guys. So what else do you guys have going today? Fun plans, outdoor activities. All right, fold on the left for this one. My parents are taking a trip, so we are watching their dog, which will be new for our family tonight. Okay, last one again with the fold on the left. It's that confetti pattern. All right. Now, one of the things that I didn't share, but is actually something that I have learned from Heather, she does this often. She will take die cut pieces and then blend over them to add additional dimension. So I'm going to show you here. I've got some of those Celebrate balloons that are die cut from the colors that I use to blend. Now you're always going to get a more intense color. Maybe not always, but typically you have a lighter hand when you're blending than the intense, consistent color of a piece of cardstock. So you can add dimension to this by adding additional color to the base here. So I have my bitty blender brush, and I'm just going to take that and add a little bit of that ink towards the bottom. Now what I should do is actually pick out the balloon shapes that I want to use. So if I take this heart one, then you can take that balloon, you can pop it up right over the top of this one. You could pop it up somewhere else over the card. Heather has lots of different spots that she placed these. Now if I were to do the yellow ones, I would probably blend with the candy corn to add that different color. The other thing that I did on one of my projects, I used a white gel pen to add the little highlight to the balloon as well. So that's another option to step it up. So if you wanted another yellow right here, or maybe a yellow right over here, you can kind of overlap the edges with them. You could overlap your foil. So just another way to add dimension and get a little bit more lift on your project by adding those die cut pieces that are sized exactly the same as the stencil sizes. So let's bring in, we've got a messy placemat here with adhesive all over and ink all over, but I'm going to bring in the 3 projects one last time. 1, 2, and 3. Here they are. Yay! What do you guys think? Did we have fun? Once again, I love foiling. It adds so much to your project without a lot of effort. It was super easy. It's one of those things that anybody can do. You just need a heat source and some foil and the Tailored Expressions Foil It cards, and you are all set. So what color goes with the red? The Fruit Punch. If you are blending over the top of Fruit Punch cardstock, I would probably choose Cherry Pop ink, or you could do Fruit Punch over Fruit Punch with a heavy hand. That would be another option. So, oh yay, Bev gave me a ba-bam. Thank you, Bev. I love a good ba-bam. All right, you guys, thank you for joining in today and checking out our birthday release. Again, if you want those double points, make sure you order today. Today's the last day for double points, and our Get Thready bundle lasts throughout this weekend or while supplies last. So all the way through Sunday, or if we run out before then. So like I said, I would love to have you in the Get Thready class happening on the 23rd. Even if you don't have your products by then, you can learn a lot and get ready for what we have coming in the future too. So now's the time to start learning. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you next Tuesday. A tiny little tea that we're gonna spill today is next week will be those storage restocks. Also, if you're part of our Stamp Joy virtual class event coming up, you will have your discount period next week. And the last thing is we are launching some new TE Made For Me stamps just in time for the holidays. So that is going to be really fun. We've been working hard on those, and I can't wait for you to see them. All right, have a good one. I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye-bye.